What's up, y'all? I think it's time I share one of my stories that's part of my testimony. Um, this is how I know God has had his hand on me the whole time, right? And this is how I know he's true. You know what I'm saying? All right. When I was in the penitentiary, I had been in the penitentiary. I was on the glass house, Cofield, and I was doing a whole lot in there. I had I was in the game, doing my thing, and I had been doing it for a good couple of years and stuff. And I ended up getting shipped on a hot boy ship to Robertson Unit, you know, and I cursed everybody, because I was doing so good. I was having money. I was taking care of my family. I was doing what I needed to do. I bought me a candy blue Caprice, you know, on some blades and stuff, and I was like, damn, I'm finally, doing my thing, reaching big boy money, and I'm like, why are they moving me? Why is God allowing this to happen? You know, and at the time, it looked like you know, like it was bad. You know what I'm saying? I thought thought the world was ending. Because I was already on my 12th year locked up, and I didn't know, but it was a blessing in disguise, man. You know what I'm saying? He sent me to Robertson Unit, and I left my phone, I left everything behind, and of course it got dispersed amongst everybody. I didn't see nothing. I went over there, got sat down in the cell, and I was forced to do hard time. You know, and I could have easily turned up over there, but I sat there one night, and you know, the radio came on. The radio came on, and I wasn't really listening to no God stations and none of that. And God tapped in through me through that radio. And I sat there and I listened, and I was like, damn, okay, if it's time for me to go, it's time for me to go. You know, my time in this penitentiary. Time to go. I started working out, doing my thing. Then I seen what they call SCC, state classification. And state classification, you have to see them in order to get released into population from administration instead of segregation, all right? And they didn't let me go out to population. They said, nah, you're going to do another 6 months in segregation because you were under investigation on Cofield. That's why they sent you over here, and I was like, dang. So they didn't let me out to general population, which is G2, you know. So I was like, dang, man, all right. And I was gonna see parole a month later, and I ain't gonna lie to you, my spirit was down because I was like, if they don't see me like good enough to go to population, how is parole gonna free me and let me go to the free world around real people, and not inmates, And I kept my faith. I prayed for that whole 30 days. I did everything I could do. Everything I could do. I wrote support letters. I wrote everybody. I wrote everybody in Texas. I wrote the lieutenant governor. I wrote all kinds of people, and the parole came up, and I had been set off 4 years in a row already. So when I seen the parole lady, I was like, "Hey, man, I already know, like, what your plans is. Please don't get my hopes up, man. I'm coming with all this. I came with support letters and all kinds of stuff, right?" And I'm like, "Look, man, please." I gave her a big speech because I was really ready to come home. You know what I'm saying? I had so much plans. I had ideas, everything. She's like, "Hey, hold on. You've been set off 4 years in a row. Your chances are good. You stayed out of trouble, this, and that." And she didn't bring nothing up about the investigation they had on me in Cofield, the narcotics investigation and all that. And I was like, man, is she playing with me or what? Because, usually that's what they do in there. They play with you. And you're like, damn, man, uh, like, this might be too good to be true. So I was like, thank you, ma'am. I'm going to bring you a support letter, another one, you know. She said, just mail it to me. So I mailed it to her, and I prayed, and man, no lie, 2 weeks later, I got my parole answer. And I stayed tapped into the man. I ended up coming home after 13 years and 2 months. I went to the Savory program. It's a serious violent offender reentry initiative. And then I came home. So that right there showed me God is real, okay? Because if TDC, SCC, state classification, didn't deem me okay enough to be let into general population with the regular inmates, why would bro let me come home? You know? And that was a blessing, man. And like I look back on it, and it's sad to say I came home and my grandma, she died 2 weeks later. She had been holding on for me to come home. And, you know, God's timing is everything, you know? It's his plan. It's not ours, man. You know? And he called me up, you know, called me up. It's time to go. I didn't know it. I didn't want to leave Cofield. Because if you know, you know about Cofield, all right? And I'm glad I left, you know. Forced me to put the game down and forced me to put everything down. And I focused on my freedom. And, you know, sometimes things in life can be a blessing in disguise. You know, it's God's plan. You know what I'm saying? Chain Gang Innovations. Shout out to Cofield. Shout out to Robertson. Shout out to Beto One, Holiday Unit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all them guards out there, man. You know, some of them guards that kept it 100 with me. And the police guards, man, you know, God bless y'all too. Y'all don't know what y'all do. And free my boys at that chain gang, man. One love, man.